a call, but just to get a sense around this whole idea, let's say good evening to Erica Emdon from Pro Bono. Erica is the National Director. Erica, good evening, welcome. Erica Emdon, can you hear me? Okay, I think we might be having a problem there with that line because it's not coming across quite clear, but we'll see if we cannot reconnect with Erica on that particular line.
Capricorn FM Talk. Capricorn FM Talk. With Taviso Kotane.
All right, we are trying a different line just to see if we cannot get a clear line for Erica Emdon from Pro Bono. They are calling on. They actually have a campaign which they called "Make a Big Difference to a Tiny Life." This initiative calls on lawyers to dedicate their time and resources to representing young people, particularly children in this country, for free, because they are saying that if lawyers were to do that, it will make a big difference. Let's see if we've got Erica on a clearer line. Erica, good evening to you. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello, Taviso.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. Tell us about Make a Difference to a Tiny Life initiative.
Well, what we're trying to really achieve is we're trying to make sure that children in the legal system are actually looked after by attorneys for a bit longer than their case. Because often what happens is that they might have a case in the court, but then the case actually isn't really resolved properly. So after a few months or so, you find that somehow either there's still problems, but the lawyer's gone. And what we're trying to say to lawyers is if you're going to take a child's case and represent a child, you need to make a bit of a commitment to that child. So we called it a 1 year, one child a year campaign, because we're saying to lawyers, please stay with that child just for a year and make sure that everything that you're doing for that child is going to ensure that child's long-term security. And don't pull out, don't leave it halfway through or when the court case is over, because other things are going to come up. So I can give you some examples if you like.
Go for it, please.
Well, for example, you'll get a child who gets placed in what we call a place of safety, and he's left there. And sometimes the lawyer might have assisted just to get the child placed there. But then the lawyer leaves the situation and nobody monitors the child. And nobody checks if the social worker is doing her job properly and checking on the child. And maybe 6 months later you'll find the child's been sick and the child hasn't been hospitalized. Or maybe the child's been abused by somebody else in the place of safety and nobody's taken any notice of the situation. And what we're saying is, as lawyers, stay the whole way. Make sure that the child is looked after and maybe go back to court with the child to see if the child can be placed with a family member. But don't just leave it. Don't just leave the matter after one court appearance. So it does require quite a big commitment on the part of lawyers. It's got to be a special kind of lawyer that takes on the case with a child, because the lawyer is really fighting for the child, and he has to be tough, or she has to be tough, that lawyer. They're giving a child a voice. And I think that's the thing. We want to make sure that children's voices are heard in the legal system, because they have a right to be heard in terms of the Constitution and in terms of the Children's Act. So we need to make sure they are heard and they do have a voice. And lawyers can play that role. They can do their pro bono, because all lawyers have a duty to do 24 hours of pro bono work a year. So one way they can do it is by looking after a child.
Can you give us an example of what children go through that really requires such an initiative?
What a child goes through?
Yeah, those that really would benefit from this initiative.
Well, I'll also give another example of which a child might be orphaned. The parents may die, and then the child, maybe there was some money from a pension fund or a government pension fund or a private insurance company if the father or mother was working in a company. And then the child is now an orphan, and there's no one who's going to look after the child's interests with that money and make sure that the money is used for the child's benefit. And it's in situations like that also that we want to have lawyers appointed to look after the interests of the child and make sure that the money that's left for the child, or maybe a property, is looked after for the benefit of the child and not taken away by unscrupulous relatives. You see? So that's another type of example where lawyers can actually look after the monetary interests of children.
And how have the legal fraternity responded to this call from yourselves?
Well, we launched it in Johannesburg, and we probably had about 30 lawyers at our launch who have shown that they were interested in doing this. And I think it's really amazing, because I think it's sort of program that's going to build up very slowly, because we kind of scared the lawyers away a bit by telling them that, it's going to be a big job and they're going to have to be very committed. But I think there were many lawyers who actually had a strong feeling of what we would sort of commitment and concern for children. Maybe they're lawyers who have their own children, or maybe they're just people who love children and they really want to do something in that area of law, which is more meaningful maybe for them than other areas of law.
What about
we're hoping to attract those kind of people.
Yeah. Have you gotten any response from lawyers from this province of Limpopo, for instance, as we speak?
No, but we want them. We want lawyers from Limpopo. We've been trying to recruit lawyers in the Makaro, and in Zanin, and in Messina, and in Polokwane. We've been visiting. We've visited all those 4 towns. We try to meet lawyers and get them involved in pro bono work. And if lawyers in Limpopo want to join up with us, we would be delighted, because we have no doubt that there are children in Limpopo that need representation. And we really, really would want Limpopo lawyers to do their pro bono hours through this project if they're interested in children.
I hope they respond, and I know they're listening. Most of them listen to this particular program, and I hope they will make a big difference. Thank you very much.
I hope they will respond, because, also in Limpopo there's not a great deal of legal support. There are justice centres and legal aid South Africa, but, there isn't a lot of legal support for poor people and people who can't afford private lawyers. So,
Absolutely.
We really do need pro bono lawyers there, especially ones who want to do stuff with children, want to work with children's cases.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks for spending time with us, and good luck with this wonderful initiative.
Thank you. It was really an honor to speak to your listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Erica Emdon.